F5 Toastmasters recently sent our own Geraldo Rivera undercover at the famous Division B speech contest. What he uncovered there was not pretty. Now, for his exclusive report.
And the winner of the Division B speech contest, and the person who will be going on to represent at the District 2 contest in May is, drumroll please, Golda Star Connolly. I was halfway out of my chair to stand up and accept the award when that was said. There was one tiny problem. My name was not called. I was stunned. What had just happened? I looked over at my wife and kids, and they were just jaws dropped. My daughter had the camera on, ready to take my picture. She turned it off, and it let out one of those cheerful beeps. Beep! I sat back quiet, hoping nobody had noticed. What just happened? I lost. It was a gut-wrenching, humbling experience, but one that I found to be extremely valuable. Because it's like they say in the Toastmasters manual, you're not as good of a speaker as you think you are. But the story of this night was not about me, it was not about winners and losers. It was about the contestant that came after me, by the name of Betty Eisensimmer. Now Betty had the air of a wise old woman, and she was quite old, a little bit overweight, and she walked with a cane and had glasses on. You can kind of picture what she looked like. But it was her eyes. She had this fire and wisdom in her eyes. When I saw her, when we were arranging with the contestants, I saw her and I just had this feeling that I was going to get a really good speech. You can imagine what she looked like as she walked over to her chair after her name got called, and she walked pretty slow. She had this regal, queen-like quality about her, swaggering confidence. She walked up to her chair. She sat down and looked at the audience. And then she spoke, and these were her words. Just imagine having your life completely changed by the signature line of an email. My friends' emails are always really inspirational, but Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, it was the new signature line of this email that stopped me in my tracks. She had quoted a world-famous author, anonymous. He said, "Do not be afraid that you will die. Be afraid that you will never live." Whoa. I heard that, and I started to noodle over that. Do not be afraid you will die. Be afraid you will never live. I sensed that there was going to be a powerful speech coming. And so I turned my attention back to the speaker to focus on her. But something was wrong. Betty had stopped speaking. She seemed real nervous. She was looking back and forth, trying to grasp for the words. She had forgot her lines. She asked the Toastmaster for a moment, took a deep breath to try and get her nerves back, but her shoulders had already started to budge up, and you could tell that she was starting to get frazzled. I almost stood in my chair, and I thought out with my mind, screaming in my mind, saying, "Betty, just use your anchor, honey, it'll be great." The whole audience seemed to lean towards her because you could just touch the tension. You could just feel it. Trying to will her to speak, but it was too late. She was too frazzled. There were no words there. And so she said, "I'm sorry. I can't do this." And she had to get up with everybody watching and walk slowly back to the audience, tears pouring down her face, wishing for a do-over. Try it again. But at the speech contest, just like in real life, there are no do-overs. You get one shot. If you blow it, you blow it. Our biggest fear as speakers is that we'll stand on stage and blow it. We get laughed off the stage, booed into oblivion. Comedians call it dying on stage. It's that moment where we get up here and we start talking and we realize that our words were not received the right way. Our words weren't taken as they were meant to. They failed to motivate in the way we really hoped. And all that's left is for us to just scurry off the stage, crying on the outside or on the inside, wishing we just have prepared better, or if we would have been less nervous, or had more fun along the way, things would be different. So why do we do it? Why do we become Toastmasters? Why put ourselves in harm's way? I mean, what's the point? I have this belief that each of us, at some point in our life, watched a speaker get up on stage and say some words that had meaning to us, that made a positive difference in our lives, didn't we? And at some point, we each made a decision that amidst all the lying and misinformation that's happening on television and radio and in advertisements, that we would get up here and deliver a simple message about how to live a happier life. There are words that are begging to be said, wisdom that needs to be passed on, truths that must be revealed, light that must be shed. And so we get up here, vulnerable, but we say it. It's almost like we have no choice, do we? Turns out, Betty Eisenhower was actually the Betty Eisenhower, former District 2 governor, and runner-up at the regional speech contest at the International Speech Competition. Runner-up! It just so happens, Betty has mentored and motivated more Toastmasters than I ever met. It just so happens on this particular night, she forgot her lines. She blanked. Maybe she just brain farted. Maybe it was divine intervention. Maybe she wasn't meant to win. Or maybe, just maybe, her speech was meant to turn into this speech so that I could say to you that when you stand up here, you stand here as Toastmasters. So stand proud and confident, and you deliver your universal message of truth to anybody that will assemble to listen to you. And as you stand here, remember these words. Do not be afraid that your life will end. Be afraid it will never begin. Stand here and begin. Betty would want it that way. Back to you now.